Okay, so in this lecture, we will discuss about the slider crank mechanism, which is also a simple reciprocating engine mechanism. Okay, so as you can see in these figures here, that the slider crank mechanism is mainly used in the engines. So as you can see in this case, that the first we will introduce the slider crank mechanism, and it's used in four-stroke engine and two-stroke engine. So we will explain these two type of engines in detail, and then we will discuss about the kinematics of slider crank mechanism. So this include how you will calculate the displacement, velocity, and acceleration of the piston if you know the angular velocity of the crankshaft, for example. And finally, we will also discuss about the kinetics of the slider crank mechanism. So this will include how you will calculate forces on a piston, how you will calculate forces on a crankshaft or crank, and how you will calculate forces on the engine frame. So obviously, you need these forces for designing these components. So we need to know how to calculate these forces. Okay, so the first thing is that what is a slider crank mechanism? So slider crank mechanism is the arrangement of mechanical parts designed to convert straight line motion to rotary motion, as in a reciprocating piston engine. So this figure is example of an engine. So as you can see that the piston is moving up and down. So this is what we call is linear motion, and then it convert this linear motion to this rotary motion of the crankshaft. So this whole mechanism is what we call is the slider crank mechanism, which include piston, connecting rod, and the crank shaft in this case. Um, in other word, the slider crank mechanism can also convert a rotary motion to straight line motion. So as in the reciprocating piston pump. So as for example, you can see in this figure here. So if we rotate this this crank here with electric motor, so this will then this mechanism will transform this rotary motion to the linear motion, or the uh, of the piston here. Okay, so if you look at this slide here, it's showing us the slider crank mechanism here, and its different components. So as you can see in this figure, it consists of mainly three parts. One is the piston, which is this part here, and then you have the crankshaft or crank. So the crank is rotating about this center of the crank. So it's rotating about this axis here, and then the connecting rod is connecting the crankshaft with the piston, and there are these two pins. So one pin is here and one pin is here, and the connecting rod is free to rotate on these pins. So that's why it will convert the up and down motion of the piston to the rotary motion of the crankshaft. Now, based on its position, uh, the piston can have two extreme positions, which is commonly we call in this case is TDC, which is the top dead center. So this position of the engine is what we call is the TDC, which is the uppermost position of the piston, because the piston is moving up and down. And the bottom most position of the piston, which is this position here, is what we call is the BDC, which is the bottom dead center. So these are two important positions that you need to know in case of this slider crank mechanism. Okay, so now this diagram here shows how the simple engine mechanism uh, work during its rotation, and also the piston up and down movement. So as you can see that the that in this figure one, the piston is at top dead center position. So this is the top dead center position of the piston, and now the crankshaft is rotating in this direction here. So the omega is in this direction here. So if the crankshaft rotate through 90 degrees, so which is it just move from this position to this position here. So this means that this is a 90-degree here. So if it move through 90 degrees, so obviously the piston is just can move up and down. So it will move in the downward direction here, and the crank will become horizontal. Then again, if the crank will rotate 90 degrees more, so the total angle now is 180 degree. So initially the position is here, and now it's again rotate 90 degrees more. So the total angle here is 180 degrees, and this ATDC means that it is after the top dead center, and this is 180 degrees after the top dead center. And then again it will start moving in the upward direction. So now again it's a 270 degrees after the top dead center. So from here to here there's a 90-degree difference, and then from here to here there's again a 90-degree difference, and at this position the it's a 360 degrees after the top dead center, and again this will become the top dead center again. So this means that from here to here it needs 360 degrees of the crankshaft to reach at this position again. And again you can see that this is our bottom dead center here, BDC. So these abbreviations is also given here. So TDC is a top dead center. ATDC means that it is after the top dead center, and this position here is what we call is the bottom dead center here. So here you can just say that this is the top dead center, and then this is 90 degrees after the top dead center, then 180 degrees after the top dead center, and 270 degree after the top dead center, and this is the 3 degrees after the top dead center, or again it become a top dead center. Okay, so now we can just briefly explain how the slider crank mechanism is used in a 4-stroke engine. Now, what is a 4-stroke engine? So stroke is the motion of the piston from the top dead center to the bottom dead center, or vice versa. So when the so if this is our top dead center, and this is our bottom dead center, so when the piston move from the top dead center to the bottom dead center, so this motion from here to here is what we call is the stroke. So for 4-stroke engine, for one complete cycle, you need 4 strokes of the piston here, and this is the main or the key parts in a 4-stroke engine. So you have the crankshaft, which is this part here, and the crankshaft is rotating in this case in this direction, and then this is the connecting rod which is connecting the crankshaft to the piston, and this is the piston here, and this is the combustion chamber where you burn the air fuel mixture, and then you have the air fuel mixture is coming to this port here, and we have a valve here, so which is what we call is the intake valve, and you also have a spark plug which will create a spark and then will ignite the air fuel mixture, and then again this is the exhaust port, or again you have a valve here which can close and open the exhaust port. So in the case of 4-stroke engine, we can start with the intake stroke. So in the intake stroke, what will happen that the piston will move from the top dead center to the bottom dead center. So this is a one stroke, and as you can see, when the piston move from the top dead center to the bottom dead center, so the crank will rotate through 180 degrees or pi radians, and when the piston move in the downward direction, so it will create a vacuum here, and you open this valve here, the intake valve, and the air fuel mixture will come into the combustion chamber. Then in the second stroke, what will happen that the piston is now moving from the bottom dead center to the top dead center. So it's moving in the upward direction. And during this stroke, you will close these valves. So you will close the intake valve and the exhaust valve. So this air fuel mixture is trapped in the combustion chamber. So you are just compressing these. And again, when the piston move from the bottom dead center to the top dead center, so again 180 degrees revolution of the crankshaft. So the total revolution of the crankshaft become 360 degrees or 2 pi radians. And then in the next stroke, you will create a spark from the spark plug. And then this will, and again, both valves are closed. So this will push the piston in the downward direction. So this is our power stroke. And then there will be explosion of these gases here. And again, the piston will move from the top dead center to the bottom dead center. So the total degrees from this point here to this point is now 540 or 3 pi radians. And then finally, again, the piston will move from the bottom dead center to the top dead center. And this is what we call is the exhaust stroke. So during this stroke, you will open the exhaust valve, and the piston is moving in the upward direction. So it will just remove the exhaust gases from the combustion chamber. And again, the piston will, the crankshaft will move through 180 degrees. So the total degrees will become 720. So 180 plus 180 plus 180 and plus 180, or the radian is pi plus pi plus pi plus pi. So this means that for 4-stroke engine, for one complete cycle, you need 2 revolution of the crankshaft, or 4 pi or 720 degrees revolution of the crankshaft here. Now, in case of 2-stroke engine, again we are using here the slider crank mechanism. So we have a piston here, the connecting rod, and again we have the crank here. But the construction of this engine is a little bit different than the 4-stroke engine. So in this case, again, we have here the top dead center, and we have the bottom dead center here. And again, the piston will move in the linear way. So it will just move to and fro. So it will just move up and down, and the crank will rotate here. So now, as you can see, in case of 2-stroke engine, you have this crank case, and then you have this sort of port here, and the air fuel mixture will come through this port here. And now you also have this transfer port. So the transfer port is that the fuel is just moving from here to here. And again, you have the spark plug here, and so in the first stroke, which is the which we can call is the upstroke. So during the upstroke, the piston will move from the bottom dead center to the top dead center here. And during this stroke here, what will happen that you create a vacuum here, and this will open this valve, and the air fuel mixture will come into this crankcase. And again, you are compressing the air fuel mixture in the combustion chamber, and then you ignite the air fuel mixture here, and then it will push the piston in the downward direction. So in the when the piston come in the downward direction, so then in this stroke, which is what we call it the downstroke, so the piston is now moving from the top dead center to the bottom dead center. And during this motion, the way the piston head is constructed, as you can see in this case here, so it will push these air fuel mixture through the transport port into the combustion chamber. So the air fuel mixture will come into this combustion chamber here, and it will push the exhaust gases through this port here. So this is and again you can see that from in this cycle or in this stroke, in the upstroke, the crankshaft is moving through 180 degrees or pi radians, and again it's uh, rotating here through 360 degrees or 2 pi radians. This means that for the two-stroke engine, you need only one complete revolution of the crankshaft to complete the full cycle. Okay, so now in case of slider crank mechanism, first we can talk about its kinematics. So kinematics mean that we, for example, are interested to calculate the velocity, displacement, and acceleration of the piston here, because the piston is moving in this way here. So the piston is just moving just here. So it's just moving to and fro in this direction here, while the crank shaft is rotating here. So as you can see, we are just representing these by some lines here. So this is the center of the crank. So we are representing this by O, and then we can call the crankshaft is crank. So from 0 or from O to A, this is our crank, and the length of the crank is R here, and this is our omega. So the crankshaft is rotating in this direction here, and this is our angle theta. So theta is if the angular velocity is constant, so we can say that it will be our omega t. So theta is omega t here. Now the distance from A to B this is our connecting rod, which is connecting the crank with the piston here. So we can call it a con rod or connecting rod, and this angle we can call it pi here. And again, the length of the connecting rod is L is equal to QR. So QR is just a factor. So this means that the length of the connecting rod is normally greater than the length of the crankshaft, and this is a factor which can be greater than 1. So it can be 3, 4, or 5. And R is again the length of the crank here, and this is our piston here. So the piston, or you can call it slider, which will move in this case here, and the crankshaft will rotate here. So yeah, so these are the main dimensions of the piston here. So R is the crank radius, L is the connecting rod length, and L is equal to QR, where Q is typically about 4, so it can be around about 4. And omega is the crankshaft rotational speed in radian per second, or it can be in revolution per minute. Okay, so for a constant crankshaft speed omega, we note that theta is equal to omega t, which we have here. And here we want to calculate the expressions or equations for the piston displacement x. So this is the position of the piston, which will change when this crankshaft will rotate. So we want to calculate equation for this x, and also we want to calculate equation for the x dot, which is the velocity, and also for x double dot, which is the acceleration. Okay, so before going into this equation, we will just introduce these main equation. So the first one is what we call is the binomial equation here. So the binomial equation is 1 plus x whole n, which is equal to 1 plus nx, and then plus n minus 1 2 factorial x square, and then plus n into n minus 1 and n minus 2 and 3 factorial and x cube, and then so on. So this is the binomial equation that we will be using for the kinematics of slider crank. So this is just to revise the binomial expression, and I'm sure that you may have seen this before. So it is 1 plus x whole n, and in this case this is x can be anything, but the condition is that x is normally the magnitude of x is less than 1. So if you have this type of equation, 1 plus x and then n, so then you can write it in this way. And we also have these some other trigonometric identities which you will be familiar with. So one is this one, and the other one is this one here, and the okay, so we have these equations here. So cos square theta plus sine square theta equal 1, and then you have sine square theta equal 1 minus cos 2 theta divided by 2, and you have sine 2 theta which is equal to 2 sine theta cos 2 theta. So we have these equations which we will be using in case of the when we will discuss the kinematics of the slider crank. Okay, so now if we consider this diagram here, which we already discussed, and if we consider that this is our positive x, this is our positive y, and again this is the crank, the connecting rod and the piston. So now in this case, we want to calculate equation for the x here. So as you can see from this diagram, we want to write the equation for x. So if you look at the diagram here, so x is equal to, so in this case, x is equal to from OC plus OB. So OC is the distance from here to here, and then the CB is the distance from here to here. So this is our x in this case. And now we can see that OC is just R cos theta, and then CB is just QR cos of phi here. So this is the equation for the x that we can obtain here. But now in this case, we don't know the value of this pi here. So we want to find a relation between pi and theta here, which is this angle here. So for this, what we will do, so because we know that AC is equal AC here. So if you consider this triangle on the left hand side, which is this triangle here. So for this triangle, the AC can be calculated by using R sine theta. And then for this side, we can calculate AC by using QR, and it will become sine pi here. So this is the equation for the so from here you can calculate sine pi, which will become equal to and you can cancel R with R here, so which will become sine theta divided by Q. So we managed to calculate equation between sine pi and sine theta. But now what we need to do, because in this case we need cos pi, so now we can use the trigonometric equation here, which was cos square theta or cos square pi plus sine square pi equal 1. If you use this equation here, then we can calculate cos theta here or cos pi here, which will become 1 minus sine square pi here. So this is what we get here. But we know that and this become equal to half because it was square. So in this case, we can further simplify it. So because we know that sine pi is equal to sine theta divided by Q, so it will become sine square theta divided by Q square and 1 by 2. So we get equation between cos pi and sine theta. So now we can put this equation in this equation here But before, because this is a little bit complicated equation, so we can now simplify this equation using the binomial equation here, or the binomial expression here. So the binomial equation was 1 plus x whole n is equal to 1 plus nx plus n minus 1 divided by 2 pictorial and x square and plus so on. So in this case, we can take this this thing and we can write this in this form here. So this means that cos pi can be written in this form here. And now, as you can see in this case, that our n is half, which is this n here. So n is 1 by 2, and x in our case is sine square theta divided by q square. So this is our x here. So x is minus sine square theta divided by q square, and n is our half. So if we just write this equation here, so the cos pi, so this will become equal to, so you can see 1, and then plus half, n is our half, and then you have x, so x is our this value here, so minus sine square theta divided by q square, and plus n will become equal to again half, and half minus 1, so which will become minus half, and divided by 2 pictorial, and now it's x square here. So this means that it's minus sine square theta divided by q square whole square, and plus so on. So we get this equation here. So now we can simplify this equation. So it will become 1, and this will become minus half 1 over 2 q square sine square theta, and minus, so in this case, because this minus and this is square, so this will become plus, but again we have a minus here, so it's the minus will come here, and this will become 1 over 8 q4, and this will become sine for theta here. So we get this cos pi, which was this cos pi here, and we get this equation here. So now we can take this value of the cos pi, and we can put back in equation 1 to use cos pi in equation 1. So if you do this, okay, so if you do this this thing here, so what you will get r, you will get x equal to r cos theta and plus q minus 1 over 2 q sine square theta, and minus 1 over 8 q cube and sine 4, and plus so on. So you get this equation here. So in this case, in case of x, you get x is equal to r into cos theta plus q minus 1 over 2 q sine square theta minus 1 over 8 cube sine 4 theta plus so on. Now in this case, in majority of the engine, q lies in the range of 3.5 to 4. So this means that the length of the connecting rod is 3.5 to 4 times the length of the crankshaft, and thus the term with a q to the power 3 or greater in the denominator can be neglected without great loss in accuracy. So this means that we can ignore this part here because it's divided by a very big number. So this will become a very small number. So then you can ignore this part here because it's q3. So you will have to divide this by 4 power 3, and 8 is already there. So this become relatively small number, and you can ignore this. This means that the displacement x will become equal to r. So if we just ignore this part here, so then r will x become equal to r cos theta plus q and minus 1 over 2q and sine square theta here. So we get this equation for the x. So this means that if you know the theta, which is the crank angle, so if you know the crank angle and you know q, which is the which is maybe given, which may be 3.5 or 4, and if you know the radius of the crankshaft, so you can calculate x for any angle. Okay, now if you know x, now we can calculate velocity by just differentiating x with respect to time. So if you want to calculate velocity here, which is, you can call it v, and it will become dx by dt, or you can also call it x dot. So if you differentiate this equation with respect to time here, so what we'll get, you will get r, and in the bracket what you will get, cos theta and theta dot, and plus 0 minus 1 over 2q and 2 sine theta, and then cos theta. So this is the you will get this equation here. And now because we know that theta dot is equal to omega, so we can write the equation here that because theta dot is here and also theta dot is here, we can take common theta dot, which is omega, so it will become omega here. And again, if you okay, so this will become sine here, so this is not cos, this is sine, and minus sine because the differentiation of the cos is minus sine. So r minus sine theta, theta dot, and then because q is constant, so is differential with respect to theta is 0, minus 1 over 2q, 2 sine theta cos theta, theta dot. And so in this case, if you again take negative common, so what you will get, sine theta and plus 1 over 2q, and then this term here, so 2 sine theta cos theta is sine 2 theta, which we discussed earlier in the trigonometric identities here. So now this is the equation for the this was the equation for the displacement, and this is our equation for the velocity here. So as you can see in this equation, again, if you know the r, omega, and theta, so then you can calculate x dot at any angle of the crankshaft here. Now finally, you want to calculate the acceleration. So to calculate acceleration, again, you will need to differentiate with respect to time. So you need to differentiate the velocity with respect to time, so which will become d square x divided by dt square, which is x double dot. And if you differentiate once more with respect to time, so what you will get are omega square and cos theta plus 1 over q cos 2 theta here. This is what you will get the equation for the acceleration. So finally, as you can see that we derived three equations. So one was for the displacement, which is equal to x, and x is equal to r cos theta plus q minus 1 over 2q and sine square theta, and then x dot become equal to minus omega r sine theta plus 1 over 2q sine 2 theta, and x double dot is minus omega square r and cos theta plus 1 over q cos 2 theta here. These are our three equations. So this is displacement and this is velocity. And this is our acceleration. We have these three equations. Okay, now again, if you consider these equations, okay, so r cos theta plus q plus minus and x dot is equal to I think there is something wrong with the PDF, but anyway, I will correct this. So minus omega r, and then you have sine theta plus 1 over 2 q sine 2 theta here, and x double dot become equal to minus omega square r cos theta plus 1 over q cos 2 theta. This is the equation for x, x double dot, x dot and x double dot. So okay, so now if you want to plot these values for angle from 0 to for example for 360, and you want to see how the displacement, velocity, and displacement will look like, so you can consider a specific engine. So in this case, we are considering this engine with these parameters. So the speed of the engine is 16,000 revolution per minute, or RPM. The bore, which is the bore of the radius of the diameter of the combustion chamber or the piston is 40 millimeter, and the stroke is also given, which is 30 millimeter. And in this case, what you can see is that r, because the way the r is moving, so if the r is on this line here, and then the piston will move in this direction here. But if again it comes back to this line again, so then the piston will again move in this direction here. But in this case, what you can see is that the stroke is two times of the r, and again you are given the connecting rod length, which is 55 millimeter. So in this case, what you can get, that r is equal to half of the stroke, which is 15 millimeter. L is given. So if you are given r and L, you can calculate q, which is just L divided by r, so which is 3.666 in this case. Okay, so now you want to plot the displacement, velocity, and acceleration with respect to angle here. So for this, you can either write a code in MATLAB, which is this code here. So if you copy this code and put in MATLAB, it will plot all these plots to you, or you can use either Excel just for your understanding. This will not be in exam. It is just for your understanding that how the velocity, acceleration, and displacement look like. So you don't need to write the code in exam. It is just for your understanding here. So if you consider the first plot here, so in the first plot, this is the displacement here. So as you can see here, that when the piston is on the top dead center here. So we know that the total length, because we know that the from here to here it is 55 millimeter, and then from here to here it is 15 millimeter. So this means that x, which is this x here, so this was our x. So x in this case is 70 millimeter, or 0.07 meter. This means that when the angle is 0, the x is 0.07 meter, and again when angle is 360, which is this position here, so again the x is 0.07 meter. But again when the angle is 180 degree, which is this position here, so again we know that from here to here it's is 55 millimeter. But again, now the and this is our 15 millimeter. You can see now in this case, and now in this case, X is this position here. In this case, X is now 55 minus 15. So X become equal to 40 millimeter or 0.04. And in between, it's changing this way. So this is how the X is changing when you changing the angle here. So this is our angle or the crankshaft angle, and this is the displacement of the piston. Or simply you are using this equation here. So X is equal to R cos theta plus Q minus 1 over 2Q sine square theta here. So you are using this this equation here. So when you just plot this equation with respect to angle, you will get this plot here. Now, in addition to this, we can also plot the uh, the displacement which we already discussed, and then we can also plot the velocity and acceleration. So as you can see, this is our displacement here. Again, there is a little bit problem with the equations. So plus Q and minus 1 over 2Q sine square theta, and X dot is again minus omega square R or omega R, and sine theta plus 1 over 2Q sine 2 theta, and X double dot is equal to omega square R cos theta and plus 2 theta here. So in this case, as you can see, the the velocity plot, which is this plot here, is just the slope of the displacement plot. So again, we can see that at this point, the slope of the displacement is 0, and therefore the velocity is 0. And similarly, at this point, the slope is 0. So again, you can see this is 0 here. This is 0 velocity. And here at this point, again, the slope is 0. So at this point, again, the which is 180 degrees. So again, the velocity is 0 here. The velocities are zeros here. You can also relate these two plots together. And similarly, we can see that at 90 degrees, which is here, the slope is maximum, and here the slope is negative. So which is this maximum velocity here, and negative because the slope is negative. So because the slope is negative in this direction here, but in this direction the slope is positive. So therefore you have the maximum positive velocity, which is at 270 degrees here. So this is the maximum, and again the acceleration is just the derivative of the x x dot here, which is velocity. So this is just x double dot. So again, you can see that it is just the if you can also relate these two together. And again, we can see that at this point, although the velocity is 0, but the slope is not 0, so you have some acceleration, and it's negative because the slope is negative. And at this point, which is 90 degrees, you are getting 0 slope here. And again, which is this point here, you can see on the plot. So which is again 0 acceleration here. And again, the accelerations are negative in this case here, and it's positive here. And again, if you note, so the acceleration is quite big value here. Okay, so now we can maybe just take one simple example here. So again, if you take this engine speed, which is 16,000 RPM, the bore is 40, stroke is 30, connecting rod length is this, and the R is 155 millimeter, L is R is 15, L is 55, and Q is this one. So we are asked to calculate the value of the piston acceleration when angle is 60 degree. So angle 60 degree is this point here. So this is our 60 angle, and we are interested to calculate this acceleration here. So the first thing that you need to do is because we know the equation for the acceleration, which is this equation here. So x double dot, which is equal to omega square r cos theta plus 1 over q cos 2 theta. So we need to calculate omega in radian per second. We are given it's in 16,000 RPM. So we just multiply this with 2 pi divided by 60, and this will become 1675.5 radian per second. Okay, so after calculating this, you need to also we know that this Q was L divided by R, which is 55 divided by 15, and this will become equal to 3.667. And now we know the equation for the x double dot, which is this equation here. So minus omega square, which is 1675.5 square. R is 0.015 is this value here. In meter, you will change this to meter. And inside the bracket, you have cos theta, which in this case is cos angle is, we want to calculate it for 60 degree, and plus 1 over q, so 1 over 3.667, and cos 2 theta, so this means it will become 120 degree. Okay, so if you just do the calculation here, so you will get minus 15312 meter per second square. And again, this is a negative acceleration here.